Hey guys, so I just finished watching the debate for the second time, so alcohol is needed. I originally tweeted out that I wanted to make some kind of drinking game out of the debate, but I'm pretty sure that the amount of alcohol consumed would probably be enough to kill me. So I didn't do that. Every time there's a debate, I always get asked the question, who won? And I feel like Hillary won in a landslide just because 90% of what Donald Trump says is just like garbled up nonsense. I do have quite a few criticisms of Hillary too, and I will explain that as I go through this video, but Trump is just, I feel like, mentally absent from most of the conversations that he himself is having. Like the first question, for example, a lady stood up and asked if he was a good role model to youth, and I don't even know how he got to the talking points that he got to from that question, but he managed.
Do you feel you're modeling appropriate and positive behavior for today's youth?
And my whole concept was to make America great again. When I watch the deals being made, when I watch what's happening with some horrible things like Obamacare, when I look at the Iran deal and how bad a deal it is for us, it's a one-sided transaction.
What the hell are you
giving
talking
back
about?
$150 billion to a terrorist state, really the number one terrorist state. Last year, we had an almost $800 billion trade deficit.
What does this
We're
have to
gonna
do
make
with
great
being a
trade
role model
deals. We're
for
going to have a
youth?
strong border.
I don't know.
We're going to bring back law and order, fixing and making our inner cities better for the African-American citizens that are so great. Make America great again.
Thank you, Mr. Trump. The question from Patrice was about, are you both modeling positive and appropriate behaviors for today's youth?
And he didn't answer it, like, at all. Are you a good role model to our youth? Well, let me tell you what, my answer to that is definitely Obamacare and trade deals and Iraq and ISIS and also inner cities. So, make America great. Okay, great, thanks for that answer.
We received a lot of questions online, Mr. Trump, about the tape that was released on Friday. As you can imagine, you called what you said locker room banter. You described kissing women without consent, grabbing their genitals. That is sexual assault.
Right?
You bragged that you have sexually assaulted women. Do you understand that?
No, he doesn't.
No, I didn't say that at all. I don't think you understood what was said.
Denial? I didn't say that. It's on tape. It's on tape. I don't understand how Donald Trump always says, I didn't say that. Like, clearly you did. There's evidence of it. Like, everyone has seen it. How can you deny that? I don't know.
But this is locker room talk. You know, when we have a world where you have ISIS chopping off heads, where you have,
ISIS?
and frankly, drowning people in steel cages, where
Whoa,
you have...
no. You made a joke about sexual assault and you're like, you know what? Let's just talk about ISIS now.
This is like medieval times. We haven't seen anything like this, the carnage all over the world. But it's locker room talk, and it's one of those things. I will knock the hell out of ISIS.
When will his deflection show who he is inside? Never, because he lies all the time about everything.
I have great respect for women. Nobody has more respect for women than I do.
Yeah, of course. I mean, whenever I think of the person that respects women more than anyone else, Donald Trump is definitely the first one that comes to mind. Totally. Yeah. Grab him in the pussy. You know what I'm saying? Just grab him in the pussy.
Build up the wealth of our
Thank you, Mr.
nation.
Trump.
Right now, other nations are taking our jobs and they're taking our wealth.
Thank you, Mr.
And that's
Trump.
what I want to talk about.
Secretary Clinton, do you want to respond?
So that was still part of his response to the whole locker room banter thing. He was going on about, like, ticker jabs, because that's related.
What we all saw and heard on Friday was Donald talking about women, what he thinks about women, what he does to women. And he has said that the video doesn't represent who he is. But I think it's clear to anyone who heard it that it represents exactly who he is. Because we've seen this throughout the campaign.
I mean, she's right. We have seen this throughout the campaign. He constantly insults women for several different things. And this has kind of been the person that he is for a long time, clearly. I think it's a topic definitely worth discussion. That's why I made my video about it, entirely dedicated to that. And it was trending like crazy. But what you just heard about it, that's it. That's it. The entire debate, that's it. It's done. It's not going to be talked about anymore. Kind of disappointed in Hillary for not driving that point home a little bit better. This debate was supercharged for me because I was waiting for two very particular things to happen. I wanted Hillary to go after Trump about the lewd comments that he made and really make him answer for it. And I wanted Trump to make Hillary address the scandals involving Bill Clinton and her potential involvement with that. Neither one of these things really happened very much. What you just saw was the end of the conversation about Trump's comments, and then they bring up the Bill Clinton stuff, and that doesn't last very long either. And there was so much buildup for it too, because apparently the women that he had assaulted were there, or that he was accused of assaulting were there. And like, they didn't really make an appearance or say anything or ask a question, and that was just kind of the end of it. And I was like, okay.
But Bill Clinton was abusive to women. Hillary Clinton attacked those same women and attacked them viciously. 4 of them are here tonight.
And that was it. That was all that he said about it. Like, I feel like this is a bigger deal, that it should have gotten more attention, but she kind of just gave some bullshit answer. She didn't even really address it. And then everyone just moved on.
That so much of what he's just said is not right, but he gets to run his campaign any way he chooses. He gets to decide what he wants to talk about. Instead of answering people's questions, talking about our agenda.
That's kind of what she's doing exactly right now. She's not answering the question, she's just talking around it.
When I hear something like that, I am reminded of what my friend Michelle Obama advised us all. When they go low, you go high.
But like, is he going low by making her address something that I think is an important issue? Is it really a low blow? I mean, I get it. I get that Bill Clinton is not the one that's running for president, it's Hillary. I see that. But at the same time, like, it's worth addressing, right? And then they just go through this ridiculous back and forth of him saying that she needs to apologize and her saying that he needs to apologize. And like, it's literally this back and forth for like ever. So I just edited it down to just the "you need to apologizes," because that pretty much sums it up.
But he never apologizes for anything to anyone.
Well, you owe the president an apology,
He never apologized to the reporter.
so you really owe him an apology.
He never apologized for the racist lie.
So you actually owe an apology.
He owes our country an apology.
But when you talk about apology, I think the one that you should really be apologizing for, and the thing that you should be apologizing for, are the 33,000 emails.
You need to apologize. No, you need to apologize. Nuh-uh, I said you need to apologize. No, you first. No, you started it. That's about the level of intellect that's going on right now in the debate. These are our presidential candidates, guys. Cheers. I'm gonna kill myself.
Their lives have been destroyed for doing 1/5 of what you've done. And it's a disgrace. And honestly, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Secretary Clinton.
And this is another thing that I hate about Hillary. I cannot stand whenever she's getting legitimate criticism and she fucking smiles.
You ought to be ashamed of
Secretary
yourself.
Clinton.
Like, it just gets under my skin. Like, ugh. It just seems like an immature debate tactic, too. Like, someone's making a point against you and you're just like, like, what they're saying is ridiculous. And I mean, I get it. A lot of what Trump says is ridiculous. This particular comment, not so much. And she's just still brushing it off like, what?
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Oh, everyone goes, oh. I mean, it was her turn to talk. And he cut her off by saying some snide remark. Like, yeah, I hate this. It's like kindergarten.
We're at
Official,
33,000?
Well, we turned over 35,000. So
Oh, yeah.
it was.
What about the other 15,000?
Please allow her to respond. She didn't talk while you talked.
Yes, that's true. I didn't.
Because you
I
have
did it
nothing
in
to
the
say.
first debate, and
you
I'm
have
going to try
nothing to
not
say.
to in this debate because I'd like to get to the questions that the people have brought here tonight to talk to us about.
And get off this question.
Shut up! Shut up!
Okay, Donald, I know you're into big diversion tonight, anything to avoid talking about your campaign and the way it's exploding and the way Republicans are leaving you. But
Let's
let's at
see what
least
happens
focus
in-
Allow her to
on some of
respond.
the
Let's see what
issues that people...
to bring the costs down and make coverage better.
That first one goes to Secretary
Thank
Clinton
you.
because you started out the last one to
Shh, no. Shh.
the audience.
If he wants to start, he can start.
Shh.
No, go ahead, Donald.
No, I'm a gentleman, Hillary. Go ahead.
Secretary Clinton?
He's a gentleman. Oh, since when? I don't know if anybody else noticed this. Maybe I'm just too OCD, but like, whenever she was talking, he kept walking around in the background doing like ridiculous things. Like, whenever he was talking, she would just like sit in one spot, sit in her chair, go like this and listen to him. But he would like wander all around stage like aimlessly, like find the Donald At one point, it looked like he was like humping his chair.
Care Act, and I'm going to fix it because I agree with you. But people who were working but didn't have the money to afford that was the slot that the Obamacare approach was to take. Even someone like Captain Khan, the young man who sacrificed himself defending our country, how important it is for them to feel that they are wanted and included and part of our country, because they want to create a war between us. The biggest tax cuts they've ever had.
Sit still. Sit. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of funny.
With Islamophobia on the rise, how will you help people like me deal with the consequences of being labeled as a threat to the country after the election is over?
Mr. Trump, you're first.
Well, you're right about Islamophobia, and that's a shame. But one thing we have to do is we have to make sure that, because there is a problem. I mean, whether we like it or not, and we can be very politically correct, but whether we like it or not, there is a problem.
Okay.
And we have to be sure that Muslims come in and report when they see something going on.
What?
Muslims have to report the problems when they see them. And, you know, there's always a reason for everything. She won't say the name, and President Obama won't say the name, but the name is there. It's radical Islamic terror. And before you solve it, you have to say the name.
Did anybody else notice that? He kept going like throughout the entire debate. It was driving me nuts. So his response to how do we stop Islamophobia is, well, Islamophobia is a thing that exists. It's a problem. And what we got to do about that is Muslims, when they see a bomb, they should report it. And everything happens for a reason. And radical Islam, you just have to say it. And that's how you combat Islamophobia, folks. You heard it here. Okay, so on some strange level here, I agree with him. There is a problem with people who are too afraid to admit that radical Islam is a very dangerous thing. So yeah, you have to call that out. But her question in particular was about Islamophobia, which is where people assume anyone who is Muslim is a terrorist. And that is a problem. And he totally didn't answer it. He just focused on something that was a talking point that he probably had prepared before and didn't even really think it through. And then from there, they start talking about the war in Iraq, which Donald Trump just outright denies ever having supported.
This is the 10th or 12th time that he's denied being for the war in Iraq. We have it on tape. The entire press corps has looked at it. It's been debunked, but it never stops him from saying whatever he wants to say.
Has not been debunked.
So please
has not been debunked. And
go to HillaryClinton.com and you can see it.
I was against the war in Iraq. Has not been debunked.
Oh, it hasn't been debunked? Really?
Are you for invading Iraq?
Yeah, I guess so. You know, I wish it was. I wish the first time it was done correctly.
But he still insists on pointing the finger at Hillary and constantly accusing her of being a liar, which she is. But Trump is so much worse. And this can be proven. Like, look at what I have on the screen right now. Look at how many times Trump lies. Look at how many times Hillary lies. It sucks. I mean, neither one of them should be lying, but come on.
Honest Abe never lied. That's the good thing. That's the big difference between Abraham Lincoln and you. That's a big, big difference we're talking about.
Donald Trump is in no position to talk about lying. And speaking of Donald Trump lying, let's talk about him not paying his fucking taxes.
I pay hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes, but as soon as my routine audit's finished, I'll release my returns. I'll be very proud to.
He should have already released them. This is something that is standard. Any person running for president releases this information. This has been standard for a long time now. I think he's got something to hide. That's why he's not doing it. He could so easily avoid so much controversy by just releasing them. When is he going to do it? After the election's over, conveniently?
And it is sort of amusing to hear somebody who hasn't paid federal income taxes in maybe 20 years talking about what he's going to do. People like Donald who paid zero in taxes, zero for our vets, zero for our military, zero for health and education. That is wrong.
Sorry, but I really, really agree with this. I think there's something so messed up about Donald Trump, who is so rich, getting away with not paying his taxes and then not even being honest with people about it. And it seems like people who support him don't even let this register. They're so up in arms about illegal people being in this country and using our resources and not paying taxes. But someone like Donald Trump, who is worth God knows how much money, because he won't report it, he doesn't have to pay taxes, but those damn illegals, They're the problem.
Famous.
Can you say how many years you have avoided paying personal federal income taxes?
No, but
Nope, he can't say how many years because I think he stopped counting.
We're going to move on to Syria. Both of you have mentioned that.
she said a lot of things. That
You-
were
you-
false. I mean, I think we should
We
be
can-
allowed
no,
to maybe
Mr. Trump, we're gonna
dispute
go
it,
on. This
because
is
she has
about
been
the
a
audience.
disaster as a senator.
Mr. Trump,
A
we're
disaster.
going to move on.
She's such a badass. We are going to move on. Martha is such a badass. I kind of love her now. But she asks him, the next question she asks him is about Syria and what he would do about the crisis in Aleppo. And he gives some bullshit answer to the point where she has to repeat herself. She's like, no. The question was this.
Is killing ISIS. And those three have now lined up because of our weak foreign policy.
Mr. Trump, let me repeat the question. If you were president, what would you do about Syria and the humanitarian crisis in Aleppo? And I want to remind you what your running mate said. He said provocations by Russia need to be met with American strength, and that if Russia continues to be involved in airstrikes along with the Syrian government forces of Assad, the United States of America should be prepared to use military force to strike the military targets of the Assad regime.
Okay. He and I haven't spoken, and I disagree. I disagree.
You disagree with your running
I think we have
mate.
to knock out ISIS.
He and I haven't spoken and I disagree. So this is a pretty serious issue. And you haven't discussed it with your VP. Like at all.
How stupid is our country?
There are sometimes reasons the military does that. Psychological
I can't
warfare.
think of any. I can't think of any.
It
and I'm
might
pretty good
be to
at it.
help
We have
get
General
civilians
Flynn,
out.
And we have, look, I have 200 generals and admirals who endorse me.
He couldn't think of any reasons, and Martha basically just schooled him. And he had no appropriate response, so he was just like, I got support. What? Generals support me and stuff. So?
Do you believe you can be a devoted president to all the people in the United States?
That question begins for Mr. Trump.
Pretty straightforward question. Do you think you can be a devoted president? Wonder if he can answer that.
Absolutely. I mean, she calls our people deplorable, a large group, and irredeemable. I will be a president for all of our people, and I'll be a president that will turn our inner cities around. I would be a president for all of the people, African Americans, the inner cities. Devastating what's happening to our inner cities.
African Americans, the inner cities.
You go into the inner cities and you see it's 45% poverty. African Americans now 45% poverty.
A black guy stands up and asks a question, and you immediately go to inner cities. Nice. I see what you did there, Trump. I see what you're doing.
In the days after the first debate, you sent out a series of tweets from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., including one that told people to check out a sex tape. Is that the discipline of a good
No,
leader?
it wasn't check out a sex tape. It was just take a look at the person that she built up to be this wonderful Girl Scout, who was no Girl Scout.
You mentioned
By the way,
sex
just so
tape.
you understand, when she said 3 o'clock in the morning, take a look at Benghazi.
Benghazi? What the fuck? Okay, way to deflect. I never said anything about a sex tape. Now let's talk about Benghazi. Oh, and by the way, yes, you did say something about a sex tape. And here's the tweet. This is classic Donald Trump saying, I never said that, whenever there's, like, evidence all over the fucking place that he did. I didn't say that. Nope, never. Not me. He lies so much. Ugh.
Regardless of the current rhetoric, would either of you name one positive thing that you respect in one another?
So this is the very last question, and I freaking loved it, because I'm like, oh my God, they actually have to play nice. Whenever the debate started, neither one of them shook each other's hand. Like, it was kind of awkward. Like, they met in the middle, and like, I'm sure it was considered as it's customary to normally shake your opponent's hand, but they didn't do it. They just went to their podiums and started the debate. But this guy here, let's see if he can bring them together.
Look, I respect his children. His children are incredibly able and devoted.
Oh my God, yes, this is perfect. Tell me one good thing about Donald Trump. Well, I guess his offspring are okay. Can't say anything good about you, but your kids are cool.
I will say this about Hillary. She doesn't quit. She doesn't give up. I do disagree with her judgment in many cases. But she does fight hard, and she doesn't quit, and she doesn't give up, and I consider that to be a very good trait.
Holy shit. That was actually a good answer and a straightforward answer. I think that might be the first time that happened the entire debate. And then we end things on a positive note, and because of that, they actually shook hands, which was nice. But yeah, my overall feeling about this debate was, I don't know, like I think Hillary did pretty good, other than not addressing the Bill Clinton stuff, like at all. Also, Trump insisting on calling what he said locker room banter over and over and over again was really frustrating. Fighting back and forth between who should apologize more was annoying. Cutting each other off was annoying. Making stupid facial expressions and walking around and being disruptive. The whole thing was just really frustrating to me. And I'm sorry for the length of this video. I ranted for a really long time, but I want to hear your thoughts too, so leave a comment in the comment section below and let me know what you thought about this horrible debate. Aren't you guys so excited for this election? Woo, America. Anyways, all my social media links are in the description below. Like this video if you liked it, share it everywhere, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Make America great again. Well, it's about time for a new campaign slogan. Trump, Pence, grab America by the pussy again. I love it.